The law of attraction teaches you to think positively, visualize what you want, and allow the universe to deliver it. You have probably tried it. In certain dimensions of your life, in certain limited circumstances, it has probably worked to some degree. And you have probably also noticed the specific experience that every honest practitioner of law of attraction eventually has. The point at which the method stops working, at which the visualizations and the positive thoughts and the deliberate alignment with desired outcomes fail to produce the results they were designed to produce, and at which the practitioner is left with only two possible conclusions. Either they are not doing it correctly, not believing fully enough, not aligning completely enough, still harboring the subconscious resistance that is blocking the flow, or the fundamental premise of the method is incomplete. The Gnostic tradition looked at the premise and identified precisely what it leaves out. Not to dismiss the genuine insight that the law of attraction captures, the insight that consciousness has a relationship to material reality, that the purely mechanistic worldview cannot account for, that intention and attention shape experience in ways that exceed what simple physical causality can explain. That insight is real. The texts that preserve it, from the Hermetica to the Gospel of Thomas, to the entire Valentinian analysis of how psychic consciousness influences material experience, confirm it from within a cosmological framework far more sophisticated than anything the law of attraction's modern formulations provide. What the law of attraction leaves out is the demiurge, or more precisely, the specific layer of material reality that the demiurge's construction consists of. The layer that operates according to its own administrative principles rather than simply in response to the soul's conscious intention. The Gnostic tradition identified this layer as the heimarmene, the fate system, the network of cause and effect within the demiurge's domain that moves according to its own archon-administered logic, rather than simply in response to whatever consciousness is directing its attention at it. The heimarmene is the reason the law of attraction works in some contexts and fails in others. It works in the dimensions of material reality that are genuinely responsive to psychic influence, the dimensions that the archon mechanisms of desire and fear and identity have not yet fully crystallized into fixed karmic structure. It fails in the dimensions that the archon administration has fixed, the specific configurations of material circumstance that are the consequence of accumulated patterns of identification so dense and so old that psychic intention alone cannot move them. Tonight we go into the Gnostic truth behind manifestation completely, what the relationship between consciousness and material reality actually is within the Gnostic framework, why the law of attraction captures something genuine but misidentifies the level at which the genuine insight operates, and what the specific Gnostic understanding of genuine creative power consists of, a power so different from the law of attraction's model, that placing them side by side reveals not just the incompleteness of the law of attraction, but the specific dimension of the Gnostic teaching that the law of attraction was reaching toward without the cosmological framework to articulate. The Apocryphon of John describes the heimarmene structure with a precision that the law of attraction's literature has never developed, because the law of attraction's literature does not have the cosmological framework to identify what the heimarmene is. The text says that after the demiurge's archons created the material human form, the body within which the soul would be embedded, they established over it a network of chains, binding it to the fate system through the specific configuration of desires, fears, and habitual patterns that would characterize its embodied existence. These chains are not physical, they are configurational, the specific shape of the soul's relationship to the material world, established through the accumulated patterns of the previous lifetimes it has lived within the demiurge's domain, crystallized into the specific circumstances, inclinations, and recurring experiences that constitute what the law of attraction practitioners call blocks. The law of attraction's solution to blocks is more psychic work. Identify the subconscious belief that is generating the block. Transform the belief. Align more fully with the desired outcome. This works at the level at which beliefs operate, the psychic level, the level of the soul's relationship to its own narrative about what is possible and what is not. But the heimarmene operates below the level of belief. It operates at the level of the soul's accumulated configuration, the specific pattern of its engagement with the archon mechanisms across lifetimes, crystallized into a structure that psychic intention alone cannot dissolve, because the structure was not built by psychic intention and cannot be rebuilt by it. The Gnostic tradition's approach to what the law of attraction calls manifestation begins at a completely different level, not with the psychic alignment of intention and desired outcome, with the pneumatic recognition of the divine spark, the specific quality of knowing that the pneumatic spark naturally produces when it has been given the interior conditions to recognize itself. Because from the perspective of genuine gnosis, the question of manifesting specific outcomes in the material world is not the primary question. The primary question is the soul's relationship to the material world itself, whether the soul is operating from within the archon-managed identification with desired and feared outcomes that the law of attraction's entire framework is built around, or from the specific quality of consciousness that genuine gnosis produces. The consciousness that is not identified with what the material world contains or withholds, and that precisely because it is not identified is genuinely free in relation to it. The Gospel of Thomas preserves the Gnostic understanding of genuine creative power in a form that the law of attraction practitioners who have encountered it without the Gnostic cosmological context have consistently misread as simply a more powerful version of visualization. Saying 48, "If two make peace with each other in this single house, they will say to the mountain, 'Move away,' and it will move away." And saying 106, "When you make the two into one, you will become sons of man. And when you say mountain, move away, it will move away." The moving of the mountain is not a metaphor for the achievement of difficult desired outcomes through aligned positive intention. In the Gnostic framework, the mountain is the heimarmene, the specific configuration of fate structure that the accumulated archon conditioning has established around the soul's engagement with the material world. And what moves the mountain is not psychic alignment with the desired outcome, it is the making of the two into one, the specific interior union that constitutes genuine gnosis, the dissolution of the soul's interior division between the pneumatic spark and the archon-managed self, the recognition that makes the soul's consciousness genuinely unified, rather than perpetually divided between what it wants and what it fears. The soul that has made the two into one is the soul whose interior orientation is no longer split between the archon mechanisms of desire and fear, operating at the psychic level, and the pneumatic spark's genuine recognition operating at the pneumatic level. It is the soul in which the pneumatic recognition has become stable enough to constitute the soul's primary orientation, the ground from which every encounter with the material world arises. And from that ground, the specific archon configurations that the law of attraction calls blocks are not met with psychic intention directed at dissolving them. They are met with the quality of awareness that does not identify with them, that sees them accurately as archon mechanisms, rather than as truths about the soul's possibilities, and that from that non-identification naturally and without effort generates the specific quality of engagement with material reality that allows the heimarmene's crystallized configurations to loosen. I have created a free guide to accompany this teaching. It is called The Gnostic Truth About Manifestation, Beyond the Law of Attraction. Inside you will find the specific Gnostic practices for developing the quality of consciousness that genuine creative power requires, for moving from psychic intention and alignment to the pneumatic recognition that constitutes the making of the two into one. The link is in the description below. The specific teaching the Gnostic tradition preserves about the soul's genuine relationship to material reality is this: the material world is responsive, not to psychic intention, but to pneumatic recognition. When the soul operates from the level of the pneumatic spark's genuine self-recognition, when the two have been genuinely made into one, when the interior division between the archon-managed, psychic self, and the pneumatic spark has been genuinely dissolved, the soul's engagement with the material world produces effects that the psychic level's best efforts cannot replicate, not because the pneumatic level is a more powerful version of psychic intention, because the pneumatic level is not the same kind of thing as psychic intention. The psychic level operates within the heimarmene, within the archon-administered fate system that moves material reality according to its own configurational logic. The pneumatic level operates from above the heimarmene, from the level at which the pleroma's light exists within the human soul, prior to the archon configurations that constitute the fate system's authority. And from that prior level, the heimarmene's configurations are not obstacles to be overcome by sufficient psychic force. They are patterns that naturally loosen in the presence of the awareness that is not identified with them. This is what the law of attraction glimpses and cannot articulate, the specific quality of effortless effectiveness that arises when the soul is operating from genuine recognition rather than from psychic intention. The visualizations work best when the practitioner is least attached to the outcome, not because non-attachment is a psychic technique for bypassing the subconscious resistance that attachment generates, but because non-attachment is the natural quality of the pneumatic consciousness that has recognized what it is, and therefore does not need the material world's cooperation to confirm what it knows. The Gnostic tradition preserved the precise cosmological account of why this is the case. The law of attraction preserved a practical observation of the phenomenon without the framework to understand it. Use the framework. Develop the recognition that the framework points toward. And discover for yourself the specific quality of genuine creative power that arises not from better alignment of psychic intention, but from the dissolution of the interior division that keeps the soul operating at the psychic level rather than the pneumatic one. The mountain moves when the two are made into one. Subscribe to the Gnostic Archive, where we trace the path to genuine creative power week by week, without the self-help framing, with the full Gnostic precision the teaching deserves. Tripartite Tractate gives the Gnostic understanding of genuine manifestation its most philosophically complete formulation, one that bridges the gap between the law of attraction's genuine insight and the Gnostic framework's more precise account of what the insight is actually pointing toward. The text describes the material world as a projection, not in the simulation theory sense of a digital construction, but in the Valentinian sense of a realm that exists as a consequence of the pleroma's overflow. The material world is not simply a separate domain that exists independently of the divine fullness. It is the specific form that the pleroma's generativity takes when it reaches the limit of what the aeons can contain, the overflow of the divine fullness into the domain that lies beyond the fullness. This means that the material world has a fundamentally different relationship to consciousness than the materialist framework assumes. It is not a domain that exists prior to and independently of the awareness that perceives it. It is a domain that exists in ongoing relationship with the consciousness that it arose from, the consciousness that flows through it in the form of pneumatic sparks, and that shapes it, from within, through the quality of recognition those sparks develop. The law of attraction captures this dynamic, imperfectly, without the framework to articulate why it is true. In its observation that consciousness shapes material reality through attention and intention, the Gnostic tradition articulates why. Because the material world is the overflow of divine consciousness, it remains in ongoing relationship with that consciousness, responsive to it, in proportion to the quality of recognition that consciousness has developed. The specific quality of recognition that produces genuine manifestation, that shapes material reality in the ways that the law of attraction aspires to and only partially achieves, is not psychic intention, it is pneumatic recognition. The soul that has developed genuine gnosis, that has made the two into one, that has dissolved the interior division between the archon-managed psychic self and the pneumatic sparks genuinely. Self-awareness engages with the material world from the level at which material reality and divine consciousness are most directly in relationship, and from that level, the heimarmene's specific configurations, the fate patterns that the law of attraction calls blocks, are not obstacles to be overcome by psychic force. They are patterns arising in a domain that is, at the level from which the pneumatic soul is engaging with it, fundamentally responsive to the quality of recognition that the engaging consciousness has developed. The mountain does not move because you believe it will move. The mountain moves because the one who addresses it has become, through genuine gnosis, the kind of consciousness that the mountain, as a consequence of the divine overflow that both the mountain and the soul arise from, is constitutionally responsive to. Make the two into one. The manifestation follows from the union, not from the intention. Subscribe to the Gnostic Archive, where we trace the difference between psychic intention and pneumatic recognition every week, until the distinction is so clear that the entire law of attraction framework is revealed as the useful but incomplete glimpse it always was. The Gnostic understanding of what the law of attraction correctly identifies as the relationship between consciousness and material reality is most precisely stated in a passage from the Gospel of Truth that the law of attraction literature has never engaged with because it requires the full Gnostic framework to be comprehensible. Valentinus writes, "The deficiency of matter did not arise through the infinity of the Father, who came to give time for deficiency, although no one could say that the incorruptible one would come in this way. But the depth of the Father is great, and the thought of error did not originate with the Father. The deficiency, the kenoma, the lack that characterizes the material world, did not arise through an act of the ultimate divine consciousness. It arose through the specific consequence of the pleroma's overflow reaching beyond what the divine structure could contain. And the divine response to this deficiency is not condemnation and not abandonment. It is the gift of time, the specific duration within which the deficiency can be addressed, within which the pneumatic sparks embedded in the material world can develop the genuine gnosis that gradually fills the deficiency with the pleroma light it was always reaching toward. This is the Gnostic cosmological foundation for what the law of attraction is genuinely observing. The material world is not sealed off from the pleroma's generativity. It exists within the time that the Father gave for the deficiency to be addressed, and within that time the specific quality of consciousness with which the pneumatic souls embedded in the material world engage with their circumstances shapes those circumstances, not through psychic intention aligned with desired outcomes, but through the quality of recognition that progressively fills the deficiency with genuine pleroma light. The soul that has developed genuine gnosis does not manifest desired outcomes by directing its intention at them. It manifests genuine reality, the reality that the pleroma's light produces within the material domain it is beginning to illuminate, by being what it is, by recognizing what it is, by allowing the pneumatic spark's nature to operate through it without the archon filters of desire and fear and identity that normally prevent the pleroma light from shaping the material conditions around it. This is the teaching the law of attraction glimpses and cannot articulate, the effectiveness that genuine practitioners of genuine non-attachment genuinely experience, effectiveness that arises not from better alignment of intention, but from the genuine release of the need for a specific outcome, is the effectiveness of the pneumatic consciousness operating more freely from the archon constraints that psychic intention keeps reinforcing. The mountain does not move because you believe it will move. It moves because the pleroma light within you, operating without the interference of the seeking mind, naturally illuminates the specific configuration of material circumstances that was always available to it as the pleroma's gift to the world it was reaching toward. Make the two into one. Be the light you are. Let the material world respond to what you actually are rather than to what you are trying to become. Subscribe to the Gnostic Archive. The genuine teaching on manifestation has been here for 2,000 years, in the text the law of attraction practitioners never read. Read them, practice them, and discover what genuine creative power actually consists of. The Gnostic understanding of manifestation has a practical dimension that emerges only when the full cosmological framework is held. Simultaneously, a dimension that the law of attraction literature consistently misses because it does not have the framework to see it. The material world is not neutral with respect to consciousness. It is oriented, specifically, constitutionally, cosmologically oriented, toward the recognition of the pneumatic sparks within it. This is what the Gospel of Truth means when it says that the pleroma came to give time for the deficiency to be addressed. The time given is not neutral time, empty of divine content, simply available for whatever the souls within it choose to do. It is charged time, time in which the pleroma's generativity is actively working through the pneumatic sparks to illuminate the deficiency from within. The material world is not simply a domain within which consciousness operates on neutral material. It is a domain that is actively being shaped by the pneumatic sparks that Sophia embedded within. It is shaped toward the recognition that gradually dissolves the Kenoma's deficiency by filling it with the genuine pleroma light that the demiurge's construction was always reaching toward without the capacity to generate. Every genuine act of recognition within the material world is a contribution to this shaping. Every moment of genuine gnosis adds to the cumulative illumination that the tradition identified as the restoration in progress. And in that sense, genuine manifestation, the soul's genuine creative engagement with the material reality it inhabits, is not the production of desired outcomes through aligned intention. It is the contribution of genuine recognition to the restoration that the material world is constitutionally oriented toward. You are not manifesting in a neutral material domain. You are contributing to the illumination of a domain that exists specifically because the plerama's generativity produced it, and that exists specifically within the time given for the deficiency to be addressed by the souls the pleroma embedded within it. Manifest genuinely, recognize what you are, recognize the domain you are illuminating, and let the pleroma's light within you do what it was always designed to do, shine in the deficiency until the deficiency is no longer dark. Subscribe to the Gnostic Archive. The genuine teaching on creation is available. Use it. The Gospel of Thomas preserves the Gnostic teaching on manifestation in its most radical and most practically applicable form. a form that the law of attraction practitioners have encountered without the framework to receive what it is actually saying. Saying 2. Let him who seeks continue seeking until he finds. When he finds, he will become troubled. When he becomes troubled, he will be astonished, and he will reign over the all. The progression is precise. Seek, find, be troubled, be astonished, reign. The trouble is the specific discomfort of the soul that has found what the law of attraction was reaching toward, the recognition that the seeking itself was the obstruction, that the consciousness directing intention at desired outcomes was the very structure preventing the genuine creative power from operating. The astonishment is the recognition that genuine manifestation is not the production of desired outcomes, but the natural creative expression of a consciousness that has recognized what it is. The reigning over the all is the specific quality of genuine creative freedom that arises when the soul's consciousness is operating from the pneumatic level rather than the psychic, from the level at which material reality is constitutionally responsive to the light that the soul actually is, rather than to the intention the soul is generating from within its identification with what it wants and fears. Seek until you find. Be troubled by what you find. Be astonished by what the trouble reveals. And reign, not over the specific outcomes the psychic self was desiring, but over the creative relationship between genuine consciousness and the material world it was always constitutionally oriented toward illuminating. Subscribe to the Gnostic archive. The reigning is the practice. The practice is available. Begin.